Great day to be in Kansas City. And depending on who you are, it might be a great day to have a baby. Just saying. Maybe make a baby. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. All right. I think this show is done when it comes to that. I mean, Mark's at 3. I'm at 3. John may have room for one more. I don't know. Probably not. But either way, I think this show is done when it comes to little ones. So it's on you, the listener. All right? It's up to you. Just throwing it out there. I think we've done our part here.
I'm in if I can have a 35-year-old. Right. Make it all proportionate. Right?
You want to skip the first 35 years?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if we can make that happen.
Look, they're just as financially needy. So.
I bring this up because yesterday there was a press conference at the White House, in case you missed it. And it was about IVF and making that more affordable for young families. That's a good thing. That's something that the president ran on. That's something that Dr. Oz and RFK and the Health and Human Services Department has been focused on under this administration. And it's all part of a bigger conversation around how the birth rates in this country have totally plummeted. I mean, you go back several decades and you had the average family, or I should say the average woman, who was giving birth to 3.5 kids. Now it's down to 1.6. The replacement rate is obviously 2.1. It's got to be over 2. So when you talk about the country, that's not a good thing, right? It's not a good thing politically because you have programs like Social Security that literally are Ponzi schemes and need the growth of the country to continue on to pay into the system. And then just culturally, you lose what American culture is if you don't have your own country producing children at least a replacement rate. And you're seeing this happen around the Western world, by the way. It's not unique to America. It's even worse in places like Europe. But it's not good here in the United States, and it's been trending down for a long time. So this is something that can't get solved overnight by a single policy. There's a lot of reasons for it. There's not one issue or politician to blame in any of this. We've been trending down this road for many decades. But to this administration's credit, they're trying to figure out how to turn that around. If making IVF more affordable is one small way to do it, so be it. And this is something that was brought up yesterday by RFK when he said this.
When my uncle was president, the fertility rate in this country was 3.5%. Today, it is 1.6%. The replacement rate, in other words, the amount of fertility that you need in order to keep your population even, is 2.1%. We are below replacement right now. That is a national security threat to our country. And we know why this is happening. And President Trump is addressing the root causes through his MAHA agenda of reducing endocrine disruptors, the exposure to chemicals that decrease fertility.
So RFK's laying it all out there. And he's saying, listen, we've got this problem, and we're trying to figure out why we have this problem. I believe a lot of this is driven just by the social issues that we have in the country. You have oftentimes young men who are just forever boys, who don't want to grow up, who don't want to be men, who don't want to go out there and get a job, who also are having a hard time finding companions in life and finding their spouse, because you also have young women who I think in many ways have been brainwashed to prioritize things that aren't about family and aren't about the things that actually matter in life. And I find that to be sad. Not that you can't do it all, not that you can't have a great career and have a great family. There are plenty of people who do that. But I think the order of priorities have gotten way out of whack. So as a result, what you're seeing is men who are giving up in many cases, if they're even trying at all. And you have women, on the other hand, who are like, well, I don't need that. I don't want that. That's not important anyway. And you've got this total mishmash of misplaced priorities. And it's not just in Gen Z. I mean, I'm a millennial, and it was part of what was going on in our generation. So it's been a problem for a long time. But you are at historically low levels for fertility, and that's problematic when you talk about the future of the country. because you need to have growth to continue on with some of the policies that have been in place in this country for a long time. So RFK brings that up yesterday. Dr. Oz also was there yesterday at this press conference, and he said this.
I know what you're all thinking, and you're probably right. There are going to be a lot of Trump babies. I think that's probably a good thing. But it turns out the fundamental creative force in society is about making babies. It's about creating. And this country, the one that President Trump is leading so beautifully, has been a country of abundance, not scarcity. To have abundance, you have to address the fact that we had 3.6 million babies last year, which is beautiful. 3.6 million miracles. That's 500,000 less babies than we would ideally have had, even to replace our current population.
So that's, once again, Dr. Oz laying out the numbers. All fact-based there. And this was all about a press conference that was done talking about how to make in vitro fertilization more accessible. You would think that that would be hailed by even some of the Trump haters. But no, instead you got articles like this from The Independent and on Yahoo News. RFK Jr. used his platform during Trump event to go on a rant about teenager sperm. This from the Daily Beast, RFK Jr.'s bonkers teen sperm rant. So they want to find something that RFK said that they can latch onto and they can scream about, because RFK noted that testosterone levels continue to decline and are at all-time lows for young men in particular. And whether that's driven by lack of exercise, the food, the obesity rate, whatever it might be, I think it's probably all of those things combined to some extent. The point of yesterday's press conference was to talk about in vitro fertilization being more accessible. And Dr. Oz makes a joke about, I guess there's going to be more Trump babies, and people latch onto that as well. It's a joke. Get over it. Talk about what the actual policy is here. Talk about what the actual problem is here and how we've gotten to this place in general. So Trump announces a deal yesterday with a major pharmaceutical company that White House officials said was aimed at reducing the cost of the drugs necessary for the standard IVF cycle. The White House will also issue guidance on what it's calling an employer benefit option to encourage employers to offer IVF and broader infertility coverage directly to workers in the same way they would with vision or dental coverage. Talk about the policy, not the let's find the weirdest thing that RFK Jr. said that we can latch onto and rip on. You have a major problem in this country. People are trying to figure out how to solve it. I don't think this is the bulletproof thing that makes everyone want to have a baby, but we know a lot of people. I know a lot of people who are struggling with fertility, who are trying the IVF. And if this makes it more accessible and a little bit cheaper and it leads to more people having children, that is a great thing for the country.
Isn't it interesting that it's not considered part of health care?
Yeah.
In their conversation.
Mm-hmm. That's
interesting.
A good point.
What is covered as health care by their definition and what isn't.
That's a great point.
How about that?
Yep, you're right about that. And I'm just, boy, this is the story that really got me worked up yesterday, because it's not political. It's not. It's not left versus right. It's not red versus blue. Unless you want to create a culture and a society where people are single and childless. And I suppose it is political in that sense, because the single and the childless are overwhelmingly likely to vote a certain way. And that's with the left. So maybe that is what it's all about to some people. And if people are getting married at higher rates and they are having children more frequently, the data shows they are more likely, not guaranteed, but more likely to potentially shift to the right. Your values will change on that front. So maybe it is that simple. But I still, and it might be naive of me to believe that we can all get behind the idea of marriage and babies being a good thing for a culture and a good thing for society. And if this leads people to go down that road, well, that is a great thing for America. And it's a shame that some people can't even get behind that.